Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, I want to go ahead and focus on the topic of stop losses, specifically when trading options. I get a ton of questions about how do I set my stops? Are they hard stops? Are they mental stops? How do you set a stop loss with options with the underlying stock price? And I want to go ahead and talk to you guys about how I do it in my trading. We're going to have an example today on a trade I took today on PayPal. Got stopped out of it early. We'll show you guys the entire trade. Got stopped out and took a loss. Went ahead, re-entered later in the day when the trade was looking a little better, and now I am green on the position. So taking that early stop was great, and re-entering when I was able to see a better setup has made me now turn green on the position. And I want to walk you through that example today. I think it is a great example. So let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Press that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to stay tuned for more. And make sure to come hang out every single morning in the pre-market live streams starting at 8 a.m. So guys, I think the best way to learn and educate yourself on any trading concept is to go ahead and visualize it on the charts, and that is what we're going to go ahead and do today on PayPal. PayPal is a trade that I took 2 times today. The first trade I went ahead and got stopped out on. The key thing here is that I came into the trade with a clear stop, with a plan. Unfortunately, I did get stopped out. I will show you guys how I sort of set that stop up and how I went ahead and executed it with my option contracts. Now, getting out of that first trade set me up to go ahead and look for a re-entry. Later in the day, I did find another re-entry point on a break and retest. I got in, and now I am green on the overall position. So I can't stress how important it is that I went ahead and stuck to my plan, got stopped out, and looked for another entry. If you get stopped out, you can always look for another potential point when the stock looks better and looks more in your favor. In this scenario, I would have been better off not stopping out. However, that is breaking a trading plan, and that is not having any type of structure behind your trade. That is hoping that the stock comes back. Now, even though I would have been better off in hindsight if I didn't stop out, I would feel very bad about the trade overall because I would have just let it go, wouldn't have stuck to my plan, and that is not trading in my opinion. That is hope. That is slightly a form of gambling. So I'm going to show you guys today how I set my stop on PayPal, how I went ahead and looked for that re-entry, and how I think it is so important to stick to that plan and always remembering that you can look for that re-entry and try to find another setup. So now let's go ahead and jump into the charts. All right, guys, so here is PayPal on your chart. Now, if you guys are part of the pre-market live stream or if you guys are part of the Discord, you know I have been eyeing this stock for some time because there has been a very nice break and retest setup that has been forming. So if we go ahead and zoom in here on the daily chart, this is the daily chart, and we zoom into some of the last week's price action, what we can see here, guys, is just about last week, we had a little break and retest of this 112 level. We can see we had previous resistance right here. We broke out and we started to consolidate at that level. Now, if we look at that level, we can see that that was where PayPal ended up bouncing off of. So after seeing that, I'll go ahead and zoom in on the 4-hour. We can see that PayPal had previous resistance here, right around this 112, 113 level. It broke out right here and went ahead and retested. Now, when it retested, it held it very nicely. This was just about the beginning of this week. Over Friday, Monday, and today, Tuesday, we held this previous resistance very well. So this was my trading plan coming in. I wanted to see if I can catch this break and retest. The highs of this candles are right around 119.50s, and that was a level that I was watching to see if PayPal can go ahead and get over. So right here around that 119.50 was the next level. That was the channel high to see if we could get a trade over that level, because in my opinion, if you do a break and retest and you break out of this channel, you should get some upside move. So this is just setting up the trading plan. This is just giving you guys some insight into what I was watching. And now we can go ahead and get a little bit deeper into the actual trades and show you guys how I set up my stop and how I set up my 2 trades. All right, guys, so my first trade today was a PayPal April 8th 125 call for $1.25. I had a stop loss below 118. I was looking to see if we can get that break and retest. This was my first attempt at that break and retest trade that I just showed you guys earlier in this video, looking to see if we were going to start getting that retest, that breakout on this move. So we can see I did get into that trade there, and I did get stopped out at 10.12 for a $40 loss. I took it small because I wasn't quite sure it was ready yet. We were very early in the morning, and I wasn't positive that we were going to go ahead and get that push just yet, but I did want to get my feet wet because of some things that I was seeing in early morning trading. So I got into that trade with a stop loss below 118. Now, I got in at 958. 958 was right here, guys, right around here. Now, how did I set my stop loss on this trade? Well, watching the trade, watching the market for about 10-15 minutes, I started to realize that PayPal was holding this 118 level very nicely. You can see that over the first 10 minutes of the market, right in this area, we continued to bounce off 118. So we had a bounce here, we had a bounce here, and we had a bounce here. So to me, that is a technical support level, and 118 is a level that I clearly do not want to see the stock get below. If I see a stock drop below that technical support, it's very clear that I am no longer looking at the same setup. I got into this trade because of the technical support at 118. That was my reasoning behind the trade setup. If it breaks down, then my trade setup is no longer valid. Why stay in a trade that is no longer valid? The trade is no longer corresponding with your original plan, so you have to get out. And to me, looking at that technical support, it's clear that I don't want to see that trade below. So I set up technical levels as my stop losses. My stop loss here was 118. 118 on the underlying stock, I would go ahead and exit my April 8th 125 calls on PayPal. I would exit those call options if we drop below the underlying technical level. Now, I don't set hard stop losses because I like to see what the stock does around that level before getting stopped out of the position. If you guys look here, and if you saw it intraday, we were getting some bounces off this 118 back here around 10.10. So we did have a bounce off this 118, and at times you will pull back to your stop but still bounce off that level if it is a strong technical level. So I don't like to set hard stops because sometimes you can get stopped out prematurely. And me personally, I do watch these charts intraday, and I am always watching the charts while being in a position so I can react to the stock if it does look weak under my stop loss. If you are someone that can't quite monitor a position all day after you get in, then what I recommend is for you guys to go ahead and go to the actual options contract that you got in and look at what the stock was trading at around when you entered. So if I go to the PayPal April 8th 125 calls. So if we go to the PayPal April 8th 125 call and we go to this morning, you guys can see that the lows of these candles are right around 96 cents. So if you wanted to set a hard stop with an option contract, what I would recommend is you go to the actual options chart and you see what it was trading around the 118 underlying stock price. So if we go to PayPal, what we'll see is that right around that 118 technical level, which we were looking at this morning, you can see this 118 technical level that I was setting my stop loss on the underlying stock price. If we go to PayPal and we go back to the 125 call, what we can see is around that same time this morning when the stock was trading around 118 on the underlying stock price, this option contract was trading around 94 cents. So what I would do if you have to set a hard stop is I would set the hard stop according to the options price on the chart here that you can go ahead and look up on TOS. So in this position, if I wanted to set a hard stop, I would have set it around 94 cents per contract because that is what the option contract was trading at when PayPal was at 118 on the underlying stock price. So I hope that clears up how to set that hard stop. But that is not personally how I do it. How I do it is I have a mental stop loss that I will go ahead and exit if I see the stock get under that underlying price. I like to give it a little bit of time. I like to make sure that the stock actually closes below my stop, give it a little bit of wiggle room because I want to make sure that I don't get stopped out early on a potential hold where my technical level is. So I got stopped out of my original trade. I had to. We got below my technical level. It no longer was according to my plan, and I have to take that small loser. So I took my loss, and I continued to watch the trade intraday. I continue to see what happened intraday. How is the stock setting up? Was there another potential opportunity for me to get back into this? The reason I was so interested in looking to see if I can get back in is because I like the overall trade on the longer term time frames, right? I'm still looking at that 4 hour, and I still like the fact that PayPal has a nice break and retest on the daily chart and on the 4-hour. So we can see back on the daily, PayPal still had that break and retest. I still liked it for upside. I just think I got in a little bit too early. So if I go back to the 1-minute chart, we can see when I went ahead and got back in this trade. So guys, around 12:48, I went ahead and took another shot on this PayPal trade. I got back in the same contracts at $1.55 per contract, and I will show you exactly how I set this up. I had my stop this time under 119.50, and I will share with you how I set that stop loss, why I wanted to see the stock stay below or stay above 119.50. So why did I get back in PayPal at 12:48 p.m.? Well, what I will show you guys is something that is quite beautiful. We can see right here on the intraday chart, PayPal had a gorgeous break and retest of this previous resistance that I got stuck in early morning. So you can see previous resistance. This is where I got stopped out, right? I got stopped out under my 118 stop loss, which was back here around 10 o'clock a.m. Now, later in the day, we came back up. We rejected it again. So I didn't get anything there. The next trade, we broke out around 11:45. Over the next 30 minutes, you will see a fantastic break and retest. I can't make it up. Look how perfect that previous resistance on the intraday chart turned into support. When I saw that, guys, that was it. That's my formation. That's what I love to trade. That's the bread and butter that I love to go ahead and set trades up off of. And when I saw that, that was it. I was getting into the trade once again. Now, you can see I got back in at 12:48. That is right around here. So, why did I get in at 12:48 and why did I set my stop at 119.50? Well, it's quite easy, guys. First of all, I got in because of the break and retest. Second, 119.50 was my stop. Why was I getting a stop at 119.50? Well, I definitely do not want to see the stock drop below these lows. If I'm getting in here, I definitely do not want to see the stock drop below these pivot lows right here. If it drops below those pivot lows, then I am definitely getting out of the trade, and I moved it to 119.50 to give it just a little bit of wiggle room back to these previous highs. If PayPal went ahead, pulled back, and got below my retest level and started the trade down here, then the setup is no longer there. It's as clear as that. The break and retest is no longer respecting itself, and I don't want to be in the trade any longer. That is why I like the break and retest so much, because it makes it for a quite easy stop loss level. If the retest no longer is validated, then I am no longer in the trade. So I got in here around 12:48 with the stop loss at 119.50. It's a clear level that needs to hold. It's a technical level that needs to hold. If I see the stock drop below 119.50, start to trade under it, I get out of the stock and I take another loser. However, what we can see, guys, is this was a beautiful reentry. We can see PayPal did the break, did the retest, and continued higher the rest of the day. And I am still in this trade, and I am now profitable on the position, even after taking my original loss. The next thing that I want to show you guys, as to reiterate why this entry was so great, if I go to the 4-hour chart and I go ahead and clear this up just a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and take off the gray area on your chart. What else did we have at the 119.50 level? The level that PayPal retested intraday. If I go ahead and zoom in here, I'll show you guys where that retest was actually right here at these previous highs. Right here at these previous highs, guys, right around 119.50. If I show you where these previous highs were, which is right here back on Friday and Tuesday of 2 weeks, Friday 2 weeks ago and Tuesday of last week, you can see if we draw a line across those previous highs, if I go into the shorter term time frame, look at where PayPal created the perfect break and retest right there at that level intraday today. So you can see this line and this green area where I just showed you on the longer term 4-hour time frame was exactly where PayPal bounced right here, broke through, retested, and started to hold these previous highs. I saw a retest, break and retest intraday, and a break and retest of that 4-hour time frame, and that was what solidified my idea to go ahead and enter this trade with the stop below that retest level. Of course, I don't want to see it below that level. If it does, I am no longer in the trade, and I go ahead and take my loss. I hope this gives you some idea of how I set my stop losses. Technical levels, I have to have a stop loss before I enter, before I enter any trade, I need to know where that technical level is that I do not want to see the stock get below. If it gets below, I have to cut the trade because it is no longer according to my trading plan. It is very easy to stop out of trades if you mentally tell yourself a plan before you enter, because you no longer want to be in a trade mentally. If you made a plan and it broke, you know that that's not a good idea. Your body is telling you, your mind is telling you, that is not a good trade to still be in. I made a plan and it is no longer respecting it. So if you have that plan before you enter, I think you will be much better off of sticking to a trading plan. If you don't have a plan and you're just jumping in without any idea of where to stop out, that is when people get in trouble. Make your plan before you enter. Set your stop using a technical level that you don't want to see the stock below. I personally use mental stops. If you need to use hard stops, if you can't watch the stock, go to the options chart, see where it was trading according to the underlying stock, and put your hard stop where that option contract is priced. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them down below. Make sure to press the like button on this video. Subscribe if you want to see more. If you want to join the Discord chat where we trade live every single day, share trade, share education, share analysis, make sure to go ahead and check that out. That link is down in the description below. Thank you guys again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.